Hey everyone, I just released my 5th subclass mod in Baldur's Gate 3 and I wanted to take you guys through it. So we started off with the Winter Spear, now we're moving into Spring with the Wild Spring Barbarian plus the Nature's Rage weapon pack. This class comes with 20 different class actions and some of them are container spells containing a few others. There are also 10 full weapons and 5 summons included with this subclass. Here are all the different weapons that are included, available in the tutorial chest and at all the vendors throughout the acts, and you also get angry chickens. And D&D fans get to enjoy playing with a Flumph. Full compatibility with other Barbarian mods, it's got full level 20 support and it's a ton of fun. Now I know what you're thinking, we already have the Wildheart and the Wild Magic Barbarian, why do we need another Wild Barbarian? Well, I didn't think that they were wild enough and I want to do a playthrough on stream here and I want to just have a lot of abilities like being able to kick targets around, throw them around, the ever fun wild magic surges that can happen, you can jump around, get the whirlwind attacks off, and we even have a bunny hop here increasing our jump distance, which you can pair with Gaia's Fury here, which will do damage in an area of effect. So there's many different ways to play with this subclass. And at later levels, you're able to reforge and create walls of stone here. It doesn't work in camp. One of the most fun spells, but it's kind of a difficult one to use at times. But with this class, you can do it without casting your using your spell slots. You get the idea, but you can also use an unlimited amount of plant growth here to fully transform the battlefield, allowing you to set up defensive positions and then jump way far away, as this class has some large jump distances. Now the subclass originally started as the Rabbit Heart Barbarian. I was kind of doing like an Easter theme with it, but I wasn't able to get this completed in time because I've been trying out a lot of different techniques and things that I want to add for future mods, so it did take a little bit longer than anticipated, but it got reforged into this with a spring theme. Oh, I returned to camp, the walls appeared. The thing with the walls is you can always just attack them to remove. They got 30 hit points and they are weak to thunder damage. And one of the fun combinations with this class is we have that bunny hop giving the triple jump distance and also the rabbit dash here, which makes it so your jump no longer requires a bonus action. So upon using this with the Gaia's Fury toggleable passive feature here, you can just jump an infinite amount of times in your turn with that extra jump distance, and the thunder damage is going to be extra effective against the walls here. So there are a lot of different ways that you can play this, and that's kind of my thought process with builds with mods that I make, is I want to make them as open as possible to a variety of different builds just for player enjoyment. So I'll take you guys through the mod all the way through the leveling here with the Wild Spring, channeling nature's fierce renewal, bursting with wild energy and unstoppable growth. This also has full compatibility with other Barbarian subclass mods. Now, I gave it the Wild Magic Rage because the Wild Magic Barbarian is so much fun to play, so the features on this is going to be the exact same. You can shoot light beams out of your chest, teleport, get additional force damage and the thrown property on your weapon. It's just really fun, and I don't really love playing the Wild Magic Barbarian too much, so wanted to throw it on here. You also get the Wild Kick. Now, I made it so that the animation or the way that the target moves is different from the one that you get with the Giant Barbarian, although they do kind of function the same with that knockback effect. The kick will look different, and it doesn't require to use any extra mods to be able to get it to work properly. I thought about using the animations unlocker mod just as a dependency to be able to get the patch 8 animations here, but I was able to get it to work fine without. We also have, as mentioned, Rabbit Dash here, which doubles movement speed, and jump no longer takes a bonus action. So early game, you got a lot of mobility. You typically going to start off, you'll rage your first turn with your bonus action, then your second turn, this will last for 2 turns, giving you double movement speed. Basically the dash and a free jump, super useful. This opens up your mobility quite a bit, but on top of that, it also counts for things like battering ram here, but we'll get to that. Spring Surge is the other crowd control ability we got here, which is basically like a entangle-like spell, creating vine surfaces, lasts for 5 turns, so giving you a bit of crowd control. But the thing is, it looks like you got a lot of options, but you only have 1 bonus action, and the Barbarian uses it to go into rage, so you're not going to, be super overpowered with this. And in fact, the Berserker Barbarian is going to have a higher damage per round because they got Enraged Throw as a bonus action, and there's the Returning Pike in Act 1 plus Tavern Brawler that just gives it so much more damage than the Wild Spring. So I did keep balance in mind despite it having some very versatile choices that it can do in combat. And then we have our weapon actions here. So these are kind of just ripped from the Wildheart Barbarian, because whenever you choose a bestial heart, you get different types of attacks from it. The problem that I have is that you only get 1 selection there, and it just doesn't feel wild enough. So with this, we got the Wild Dive. And Wild Dive, or the original spell, this kind of sucks, because you have to have the increased distance on the target for it to be able to knock them prone, and you're not always going to have that. But I gave it an additional 1d8 of poison damage so that it actually feels worthwhile to get that distance. So kind of the playstyle would be to like try to jump to a high position, then just come crashing down on the enemy. We also have Battering Ram. Now, if you play Divinity Original Sin 2, this was kind of an inspiration for this. This is an ability in that game for Warfare. I really like how Warfare builds play in Divinity Original Sin 2, which is the chaoticness of jumping around and attacking. So that was a bit of an inspiration for this class. We also get the Primal Cleave here, so I am using one of the weapons that's included in the Nature's Rage pack that's with this mod, but this will attack up to 3 targets at once, and you make them bleed. It does your weapon attack damage divided by 2. But the thing is, it also adds the damage riders, and I got a permanent poison that are on all the weapons here so that you're going to get a little extra damage off against the targets. This does end up being a little bit strong, but it does combo nice if you're playing with other barbarians. And at level 4, I gave it an even better jump abilities here with the Veil of Spring. This is somewhat similar to what you'd get from Niralna, the weapon, giving it +3 to movement speed and jump distance. And it also gives you immunity to fall damage. So you can go crazy. Kind of imagine like playing like the Hulk, jumping around, smashing things. So with this, you don't take fall damage, which is really nice. I also give it Speak with Animals because the other barbarian gets that. And it's just nice to not have to lug around a bunch of potions and look for them. And also makes sense here. We're a avatar of spring itself, so we can talk to animals. And we can also use the spring spirits here. This is kind of similar in vein to the winter spirits that I had for the winter spirit bard, but spring themed. Now with this, you can conjure a creature from a verdant realm. You have the choice between a bunny, a chicken, a badger, a squirrel, and a flumph. So I'll just take you guys quickly through them. I worked hard and actually was able to give them little attacks that they can do. So the rabbit has really fun animations. I love the way that they hop around like that. They also can punch and attack, so they're incentivized to jump in and start attacking. And I gave them all the spring surge, so you do have some extra crowd control support. You don't, oh, I did it on a candle there, so lit on fire. You don't have to use the summons too. I just included them because I know a lot of people really enjoy that aspect of my mods, and I wanted to use these bunnies and the flumph, which doesn't really have any other mods that has that. So that's the bunny there. There's also the chicken, which is the disshelled chicken from Act 3 there. The thing is, I made these summons large, so the normal chicken is not this size. I just thought it'd be funnier to have it this big. And the fun part about this is the chicken actually has really funny animations for attacking. So yeah, you can go crazy with this like literal chicken attack there. Yeah, I love the animations of this, so I had to include it whenever I saw this. Yeah, amazing. And I had to include the badger. He's just so funny. So yeah, there's an image on the mod page there. I just think it is really funny and I want to include it. But the badger does have some special abilities. I didn't want to take away from it because it does get a special burrow attack here, which can knock targets prone, which does support the build and its ability to displace and knock enemies around. It also has spring surge there, and it's got its own unique bite attack. The badger is a little bit stronger, but he's a big good boy, and I thought that was appropriate. Now, my last mod also had a squirrel. That squirrel is green. This one's a little different because he's a large squirrel, but I just love the attack animations the squirrel has too. It's kind of similar to the chicken where it has this really funny animation I just had to include. And finally, the flumph. Now, I love these silly little jellyfish-looking creatures, almost looking like War of the Worlds. The only thing is, there's in one place in the game, and that's with the Wild Magic Barbarian. Whenever they go into their rage, they have a chance of summoning these in, and with this class, you also have that same chance. So you can have multiple flumphs for those fans out there. Unfortunately, the flumph doesn't really have any animation, so whenever it moves, it is a little janky looking, but that's because they're not really meant to be used too much, so it'll just stand there when it does a punching attack. But it does glow by using the spell here, so that's actually kind of cool looking, a little different, but yeah, again, they just won't have any of the special appearances. So if you want to melee, it literally just looks like that. Now, upon hitting level 5, we have Mighty Impel, similar to the one that's in like the Giant Barbarian at a lower level. Obviously, that is quite strong. I just like the thought of jumping in and throwing someone flying across the battlefield and then jumping back over them with the diving strike. This class is just meant to be pure fun. Also, it does have different animations from the one on the Barbarian, just because, again, I didn't want to have any extra mod dependencies for this. We also at level 6 here get Grasping Briars. This is another bonus action attack. Again, you have so many bonus action abilities, but only one bonus action, and it's used to enter rage. So it doesn't end up being like overpowered by any means. It just gives you new options if you want to maybe delay your rage and use this to pull someone closer. We also got the Rain Lash here, which knocks targets prone, and it has that cool watery VFX that's on the monk, and the 4 elements monk doesn't get played a lot, so I just wanted to reuse that. April showers, spring showers. This spell here is a smaller create water. Again, I like to open up and let it be compatible with other types of builds. So if you're playing with the Winter Spirit Bard, your spring can go ahead and drop a spring shower on the enemy, and then your Winter Spirit Bard can drop like an ice ball on them. So yeah, I designed my subclasses in mind with kind of some compatibility. I've done this with my previous classes as well, so they all play nice together. Level 7 gives Cloud Strike. So this gives additional lightning damage on your attack and hits in an area of effect. There are some slight references here in different video games, so you can just, pay attention for those. And I also will be doing some parody style mods in the future, so stay tuned for that. Level 8, I gave the land stride. Difficult terrain will no longer slow you down, just because this class has one thing that'll make it very difficult to play. A lot of crowd control, so being able to not get slowed down is a massive buff. I considered giving it to the entire team in somewhat of like an aura, but I felt like that was getting to the overpoweredness side. Level 9 gives the aspect of the beast Honey Badger. I love this. It just, again, the Wildheart Barbarian doesn't get much play. And this basically, if you get poisoned, frightened, or charmed, you have a 50% chance of raging without expending a rage charge. This is also a toggleable feature. And what's nice about this is sometimes you just want to jump into battle, take the bait, get hit with poison or charmed, and then just start raging so that you don't have to use your bonus action on it. So this rewards more risky gameplay. And I think it's really fun because typically you're not going to be taking this aspect as a Wildheart. But also, I threw on the whirlwind attack here. Now, this does get a bit powerful. I was considering putting this at like level 11 or level 12, but I know a lot of people like to do Barbarian level 9 and then take the Rogue Thief for 3 levels. So I tried to make this build as open to multi-classing as possible because I know a lot of people do enjoy that kind of concept, but I also do give it bonus actions later on if you go past level 12, as it has full level 20 support. So yeah, whirlwind attack is strong. Obviously, the Ranger's main feature, getting it earlier than them, is kind of rude to the Ranger, but it's a nature-looking attack, and it fits perfectly on this. My thought in battle was to get your Barbarian to just fly into the enemy's backlines with their huge jumps, and then just start cleaving with their axe, and that's exactly what you're able to do with this mod. It is a bit strong, but even early game, the Berserker Barbarian can out-damage it, and a Throw Zerker is going to do more damage than this class will. This just has many other options. Level 10, I gave it the Nature's Rage weapons. You can, again, purchase these from a variety of different vendors throughout the game in a chest, or you can summon it in with the tutorial chest if you want to use these weapons on your teammates, but you can always just summon it at level 10. I just did that first, and then it was kind of like a last-minute thing to add to tutorial chest, which ended up taking me multiple hours today to get figured out, but we got it. Level 11, this is when you get Gaia's Fury, so you can do that crazy jump build. You just increase your movement and then just jump back and forth like crazy. This was the core concept of the build, actually. As mentioned, it was the Wildheart Barbarian, and my thoughts were to damage enemies by jumping around a lot. My original, the early drafts of this build had a bunch of different jumping attacks where you just would attack by jumping, and I found it wasn't that fun. I wanted to open things up a little bit more, especially as I was coming late to the deadline for Easter there, but we also got ways to transfer to the battlefield. Now, these are full actions and this one a bonus action, so you're not going to use them often, but what's good about them is you can set up ahead of time. So as you saw, the earth blending here, you can create walls of stone, protecting yourself, build a fortress. I even have a little bit of an idea of potentially one day putting something together for like a tower defense type mod in Baldur's Gate 3, and being able to just set up walls and defend yourself is really fun. You also got that's basically plant growth for free, so you can just lay down a bunch of crowd control. Nature's Grasp is kind of strong. It gives you that grasping vine. Fun fact, they buffed this in patch 8 to make it a lot stronger, so I just hijacked it to put it on this class. And once you hit level 12, you get Bunny Hop, which will triple a creature's jump distance. This is where it gets really fun because you can just use this ability and fly to the other end of the enemies. If you ever see like the Gith use this in like the Act 2 finale, it's really funny, and I just wanted to throw it on here because it was, again, kind of the core principle of this build. Now, if you use a level expanded mod, level 13, this isn't a subclass feature, but you get additional critical hit die, and that's standard to all the Barbarian subclasses. Level 14, I gave it Thunder Bloom here, so I only gave it one of the elemental cleavers from the Barbarian. I felt Thunder kind of made sense here with the jumping and booming around. So basically, you can make your weapons into thrown weapons if you want to do a throwing build. The reason I put it so far is so that it doesn't discourage people from playing the Berserker Barbarian, because why would you play any other thing if you could go with a crazy throwing build? So I wanted to discourage it a little bit till later on, but let me know if you'd like to see that earlier on. I was just trying to balance this thing as much as possible, and that does require a lot of play testing. Level 15 gives you fast hands for that extra bonus action. This is where the bonus action economy starts to come a little bit more kind to the player. And again, you can even do like a mix of 3 levels of the Rogue Thief to get that extra bonus action earlier. And I actually encourage that because it can be a fun gameplay style. And I also give it another bonus action once you hit level 20. So if you go all the way through, you get rewarded, because then you have so many different bonus action abilities here to choose from. So you can jump in, do your attack, bonus action, you can get out of there. It's really fun. In playing this, I will be doing streams where I play with this subclass alongside my other ones, so you can stay tuned for that. But I'll cover the weapons here too, because this was something I wanted to put together, like a weapon pack. So I'm getting comfortable with Blender to make custom weapons. Right now, these are just base game assets that I felt were a little bit undervalued because there's no good axes in Baldur's Gate 3. So I wanted to change that. And the concept here was the blue and green color theme. If you're ever on my live streams, you'll know that I'm obsessed with the fruitager arrow design style from like the early 2000s. So the green and blue is kind of like that theming there, thinking of like nature and being out in the wild, while blending like kind of the technology all together. But we got Grove Breaker, kind of similar to Stormbreaker, if you know Thor's weapon here. This has a 1d8 or 1d10, depending on if it's one-handed or two-handed, lightning damage plus poison damage, and it will bane targets on hit. So this comes with 10 total weapons. I have 3 axes, because again, there's not really that many great axes in the game. I also give it the root carver here, and all these weapons that are single-handed, you can dual wield them because I made them both light, so you can take both of them out and go crazy with that. And you can even use 2 of the same if you like the appearance of it. So I'm just going to put both these axes here, different size axe. Everyone loves big axes. With root carver here, it does 1d6 piercing damage, because piercing damage is really powerful, and yeah, just want to make it a strong choice. And it also will give additional 1d4 against targets with less health. We also got the Earth Splitter Great Axe. This is kind of similar to the Sword of Chaos, but it's an axe and it'll heal you. So again, the Barbarian is so resilient. I just want to have a fun option there, because there's not really that many great axes in the game, and it's quite strong. It's got force damage, so it's only really resisted by a couple bosses in the game, and it gets that additional poison damage, which is great for doing the cleave style attacks. I also gave it Garden Fork here, and I really like the combination of the 2 pokey weapons. The attack animations for these are great. So the Garden Fork will get additional 1d4 of slashing with targets less than 50% health, a little bit different from what we got with our other weapon there. And then the Thorn Piercer here, whenever you get a critical hit, it does additional 7 points of damage. There's not many great spears or tridents in this game as well, outside of Nyrulna, so I just want to give it some fun new options as well here. And the attack animations with the dual pokers is really fun. So I really like just the way that it looks with that. Wanted to make it kind of something you can do. So again, you can use double Thorn Piercers if you want to summon it in with the tutorial chest, or use the spell to summon it in as well. Now I also got the weapon here, Bloom Reaver, the Invincible. This is a cold damage based scythe. That's slight reference to one of my favorite games of the last year, Borderlands 4. But it also fits the theming of this mod. This has, on critical hit, you get 10 temporary health points, or hit points, and it deals an additional 10 necrotic damage. So just a better sickle than the ones we have in this game. I also have, this is my favorite name, this one is just really funny, Photosynthesis Smasher. It's a hammer, and gives you lightning charges. So obviously that gets a little bit powerful, but kind of in the same vein, if you wanted to go with a full Thor build, you could literally do like a hammer and an axe here. And yeah, you're the nature Thor here. Mjolnir, Photosynthesis Smasher, same deal, Grove Breaker, Stormbreaker. I also got the Skythorn Longbow here. Now, with my Heartsworn Night Fighter, I gave it its Charisma modifier onto the damage it deals. This one, I just kept it with the Strength modifier, like the Titan String Bow, but it also gives lightning charges. It's just really fun. I love lightning charges, and it fits the theming of this build. And for the final weapon, this is kind of like the one that I imagine using for like the lore appropriate playthrough. We got Breaking Branch. This will do a 1d4 piercing, 1d6 of poison, and it's got the elements of an epoch. So it has lower damage, but it comes with the elemental age. So I put this on it because I really like the Flail of the Ages, which is a reference to older Baldur's Gate games. We got fire, cold, or acid damage. And what's great about this is you're going to buff up the weapon. Not only that, it makes the weapon look really cool too with this amazing glow. So that is cool. But on top of that, it then is going to apply the acid condition or chilled or burning, depending on the elemental choice that you take. So again, just making a weapon a little bit better than what it previously was. And it gives you many other options in combat. You could be the chilled setter upper because you got that, and you also have a water ability here. And we also have here the Nature's Rage shield. So this isn't really a weapon, but I just counted just to make things easy. In the description, I wrote 9 weapons, 1 shield. This will give your attacks an additional 1d4 of necrotic damage, given that even greener looking appearance on the weapon, kind of similar to the last Lucky Clover domain that I released. Also gives a heightened awareness, giving you increased initiative and advantage on perception checks, and shield bash. This kind of turns it into a weapon because you get a reaction to attack targets. And this just looks really cool with that green glow here. So that is the weapons there. I think that they just fill a very wide niche for different types of play styles, but I am looking for feedback because I do want to make some changes to these. These aren't final as far as the weapons go, and as well the class. Like after I released the Heartsworn Night Fighter, I did do a balance patch where I did nerf some of the things. So I'm always listening to people's feedback on these. But yeah, this mod did take quite some time. It was like an 80-hour work to get this to be fully finished, all the testing and everything. A lot of work. But I am testing out some other things for my future mods, and I have 2 currently in development. They're much different from what I've been doing recently. Like all my mods have been like holiday or seasonal themed, and my next ones are more so like parodies of other media. So you can stay tuned for those. I'm really excited to work on them, and they're unique in the way that they play. And I think people really enjoy them. They are kind of like a parody of other types of game franchises out there. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Go download this mod. It is available on both Nexus Mods and in Mod.io. So you can go download it on both these websites. Interestingly enough, I'm getting like 7 times the downloads on my last mod on Nexus over Mod.io. And I thought Mod.io is where all my viewers were at, but just to everyone that downloaded on Nexus and endorse the mods, I really do appreciate it when people give support towards these things. Because again, they do take a very long time to put together, and you do get some negative feedback often on these things. So yeah, that's why I always am trying to say to people to leave positivity out there, because people put a lot of time and effort into these things so that other people have fun with the game. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Have yourself a great day, and we'll catch y'all in the next one.